Hey gang, welcome to the latest episode of Full Throttle Kind of Guy. Full Throttle Kind of Guy coming right at you. It's not Saturday. I wish it was Saturday, but it's Friday evening late. A little bit of wrenching going on. Had to tighten up part of an exhaust. I really should look into getting part of the tubing welded, but I'm not in love with the exhaust system. Right now, just trying to keep finances on the low side. Got the heater core cover installed finally. A little bit of fabbing on that one and a lot of filing, but worth it at the end of the day because it was done right. If you ever do that work, and I've talked about it in an earlier video, don't forget your seals. You'll need it. It's definitely going to be well worth it. So it's about 5:30 here. It's probably in like the mid 40s. So I wear shorts pretty much year round. So that's who I am. That's what I do. I'm free below the knee, as they say. Anyways, so trying to work on a little bit of a cold idle weird thing that's going on. I got to check and see the adjustment on it. And so basically, because of that, it's been running a little bit, but I figured, hey, why not? It's kind of dry out, or I should say it stopped raining. It's wet out. And I don't know if you've ever driven a car with a spool on the street before, but it's a bit of an adventure, especially when it's wet, because you got full-time traction in both wheels, regardless whether you're going sideways, uphill, downhill, around a block, the whole 9 yards. And they do make a little bit of noise, so I figured I'll take us around the neighborhood, see what's up, and this will be kind of like a light test drive. But not going to do any burnouts. Ain't about totaling the car so close to actually getting it up on the road. Got my plates on, got my grill on. I'll show you what the grill looks like on the Nova. I was running it without the grill because doing that kind of engine work and anticipating fab work, I didn't want to have the grill in place so it gets broken. You know, they're like $100 a piece to get a new grill, so not about that lifestyle. So the heater works now, but the hoses aren't hooked up. So what I'm going to do, I promise to take you on my first kind of maiden voyage. Here we go again, nothing crazy, just taking us around the block. So, welcome aboard. smooth. I would say definitely torquey. It's rush hour over here. We got an Intel plant nearby, so traffic is normally really heavy. And speaking of heavy, there's the presence of our friendly local Canadian Police Department. I'm from Manitoba, don't you know? Funny thing about letting a car sit and getting back in it, trying to bring it back to life. Boy, the tires are harder than Superman's kneecaps, and they've got a little bit of that flat spot going on. Concept of what a straight road looks like. Everything twists and turns, and a little bit vexing after a while. I guess if you're in that kind of a lifestyle with going around corners and other hoo-ha, I mean, it's cool, but I'm a straight line kind of guy. Hence, full throttle kind of guy. Idling rather wrong at 900 RPM. Not more like 850. Oh, 69 Firebird behind us. Hey, little throttle right there for you. Again, I'm in traffic, so I don't do anything crazy, especially in wet conditions with pretty ancient tires. How ironic would that be? Get a car together, bolt it up the whole nines, then during a test drive you wipe it out. The weather tomorrow, the weather is supposed to be really nice. I think I have a treat in store for us. I'm going to do something I don't think many other YouTubers have done. I like to do things a little bit differently. I don't want to spoil it, but it involves math. That I can tell you. I'm big into math. It's like math, like science. It's something you can kind of prove, and it's there. Did I not tell you where there is traffic and traffic? Did I mention that there was traffic? In this town, you literally were out to set up brake pads going from one part of town to the other. master exhaust system with two knockoff 40 series, or I think one's a 40 and one's a knockoff. But it's quiet enough where you don't make yourself public enemy number one. But if you get on it, you'll know you got a motor there. Life of a blocker, or mini spool, I should say. Pretty much it for the preliminary. Like I said, I've got something in store for tomorrow. Make it a little more livelier. But it's been a process. Everything so far has come out the way I expected it. Actually pretty smooth, and it all comes into the planning phase. If ever you haven't done an engine swap, do your research, get your parts lined up. If you've got a budget, safely double it, maybe times and a half, so you don't wind up, falling short or some parts you didn't plan on. If you're not sure on what the budget for or what the plan for, ask people. Get out there and hit them up. Knowledge is power when it comes towards doing these things, and you don't wind up with a project that is a dead project. Just sits there with the motor out, front end off the car. I would say, if you're the kind of person that it's hard to stay motivated, don't overcommit on it. Work within your wheelhouse. So instead of deciding to pull the motor when it really isn't your thing, look at an intake manifold, look at headers, look at heads, whatever, something that doesn't completely break the car down from its original state. Or if there's items that you can improve along the way, for instance, I got a leaky core, heater core. Well, that's a great way to kind of start. That'll test your ability to tolerate doing repairs or working on your car itself, or realize there's some things you'd rather not mess with. I don't like doing rear ends. Never have, never will. So I always farm that out. I've got a guy who does differentials, really good work, really fast. I can get a turnaround time usually in a day. But again, if you're into cars, it's kind of a thing where we're a dying breed if you think about it. Because, and not to sound like I'm getting on a soapbox, and I apologize for that. When I was getting into this back in the day, you could still go to a boneyard and you could find a 442. There's a GTO, Dodge Charger, Cudas, Cougars, you name it, they were still there because people weren't hoarding them, or it was just an old car back in the day, and newer stuff was, catching everybody's fancy. Even though there was virtually no performance in the early 80s until the Mustangs started coming out, and the Camaro and the Z28 started turning around, and then the Corvette, the Buick Grand National. So I think there was some exciting times. There were some dull times, but again, a lot of these cars, they're getting hard to find. Cash for clunkers, scrap metal, people hoarding, and then the whole affect of people seeing auctions and something selling, and then they right away presume, hey, my stuff is worth X amount of dollars too. That's kind of putting a damper on it. So kids that are my age, that was back in the day, their exposure to some of these things, you're not going to find it, because they're basically pricing themselves out of a kid's wages and it's going to take either somebody getting a complete beat or a disaster to work on it, bring it back to life, or you buy something already built, which at the end of the day, you don't know every nut and bolt or characteristic of the car. That kind of separates those from others. But every journey starts with its first step. So I think it's worth trying to invest in it. So read up, planning, and don't give up. Again, it's okay to get frustrated, take a step away from something for a while, come back, circle back, and take it out again and do your thing. For me, we did this outside in funky Oregon weather, between the raindrops and the snow and the whole 9 yards. So if we can do a car like this, granted, I know there's a garage, not my house. Remember, I'm working at a buddy's house. It still can be done. Are there still no hardcore dudes out there who can change a motor in the street, do it in a weekend, the whole 9 yards? Yeah, they're out there, but again, dying breed. So that's one of the things I like about YouTube. We all kind of connect, or if I can give a little bit of wisdom, or somebody share some wisdom with me, I'm not a proud guy. I'll pick up on anything. Wise man listens, fool continues to chatter. Well, it's Friday. It's getting towards dinner time, so if anything, appreciate you guys stopping by, seeing what's up. Remember, tune in tomorrow. I'm going to do something a little bit cool. Again, remember, it involves math. Yeah, I know, math. It's cool. It ain't that hard. Anyways, appreciate you again. New subscribers, thanks again. Especially my Canadian buddies from the Nova webpage. Really appreciate that. And if anything, please stay safe. Be careful out there. Be cool. Be nice to each other. If you haven't liked, please give me a chance. Give me a like. And appreciate any subscriptions. Hit me up. I'll be more than happy to try to answer whatever questions you have, or at least answer whatever comments you leave to me. But again, appreciate it. Stay safe, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Here's a little bonus footage. There goes my front end with my grill on. Yes, it actually did have a grill, bezels and marker lights, and yes, all the electrical does work on this car, believe it or not. Kind of a shocker, but these cars are pretty much, for their age, as long as they haven't been butchered to death, they're pretty bulletproof.